Dr. Nagaswamy is a world-renowned expert in the field of art, including archaeology, museums, temple culture, history, epigraphy, numismatics, music, dance, public affairs, ancient law and society, literature and education, and has earned international distinction in art and culture. He has appeared as an expert witness in many high-profile cases, most spectacularly in the following two cases. He was an expert witness in the London High Court on behalf of the Government of India, and it was his testimony which helped bring back the Nataraja back to Tamil Nadu. He was also an expert witness in the Allahabad Court, Lucknow branch, in the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid demolition case, deposing for a full 26 days before the court to confirm the existence of a temple beneath the mosque based on the excavation undertaken by the Archaeological Survey of India. An archaeologist by profession, he retired as Director of Archaeology, Government of Tamil Nadu. He has also established an Institute of Epigraphy to train students in epigraphy and archaeology. He has been bestowed with many awards, fellowships, and titles, notable among them the title of Kalaimamani, bestowed upon him by the Government of Tamil Nadu, under the Chief Ministership of late Selvi J. Jayalalitha. Dr. Nagaswamy has completed his Masters in Sanskrit from Madras University and has a PhD from Deccan College, Pune. He has published 54 books and produced 13 dance dramas, apart from conducting excavations in 10 historic cities as part of his archaeological work. Dr. Nagaswamy has been appointed as honorary faculty member of Arsha Vidya Gurukulam by Pujya Sri Dayanand Saraswati Swamigal and awarded the title Vidya Seva Ratna by Sri Kanchi Kamakoti Pitadipati Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal. I invite Dr. Nagaswamy to come on stage.
Friends, this is only an observation before I go on to present my paper about a good paper presented by Mr. Jayaraman on the Sanskrit position and Sanskrit commission and so on. Friends, there is a Sanskrit ancient saying, Sahitya Sangeeta Kala Vihinaha. Sahitya Sangeeta Kala Vihinaha Sakshat Pasuhu Pucha Vishanahina. A person who doesn't know Sahitya, Sangeeta and Kala is only an animal without the tail. This is how the old one describes. Now, I am very glad that he presented many statistics about the position of Sanskrit and the Commission's report. But we should also realize that Sanskritists themselves are also to be blamed for certain lacuna in carrying the message of Sanskrit to the public. Number one, most important, they think of Sanskrit only as literature. But don't forget that we have thousands and thousands of inscriptions, written documents, records on stone and also on metal, which are based on Dharmasastras. The same phrases used in Dharmasastra in Sanskrit literature, like Manu, Yajnavalkya, Parasara, and so on, these are not taken to the people. Music is a very important aspect. Music contains maximum number of Sanskrit compositions, and without Sanskrit, Indian classical music doesn't exist. But we have not strengthened carrying the message of Sanskrit, teaching Sanskrit to children who study music in traditional schools. Similarly, Natya, dance, all over India we have excellent dance forms. In North India and Southern India, in Eastern India and Western India, everywhere. And they all require Sanskrit. Bharata's Natya Shastra is one of the most outstanding literature that reaches the common man as Sanskrit. But we have not I don't see any report in that commission's report about strengthening study of Natya Shastra. It must be made compulsory at least in all the schools and colleges, because it speaks about the theory of literature, theory of rasa, theory of natya, and excellent communicative technique by angaharas, bodily movements and bodily suggestions. This we have not done. And then excellent Ayurvedic texts are available. There are simple introductory Ayurvedic texts must be prepared and brought to the notice of the school children. What an amount of enormous scientific examinations have been done in our Ayurvedic literature, the whole body and all. It's all absolute science. But we should bring out small textbook and make it useful to the school children. So we have now got idea of Sanskrit as only as literature and perhaps about Upanishads and so on. But this has to be brought down to the common people. In the village level, we do see great appreciation that they have sent, but this we have not exploited. So they should include the commission. And whenever we speak of Sanskrit, we don't confine ourselves only to literature. Let us go to music, let us go to dance, let us go to scientific works like Ayurveda and other astronomy. There are a lot of people in the village level who could calculate in ancient times. Lunar eclipse or solar eclipse well in advance, 5 years or 6 years in advance, when, at what time it will take place and when it will get relieved. All these things are all preserved in our astronomical works. Panjanga, we call it. And there are many people who are very active in the village level, but we have never done anything to strengthen the traditional, what you call Panjanga study, astronomical. It's not astrology, telling all types of rubbish. But we want calculation, absolute calculation. And astronomy is always mentioned as Ganita, Jyotisha. So I think the Sanskritists must get together and first see that apart from literature, of course we have wonderful literature, but there are other areas where the common people can understand it. The temple worship. There are 85,000 temples in Tamil Nadu alone, and out of which at least 80,000 people use Sanskrit even today for puja, Kumbhabhisheka, Archana, and so on. We have not strengthened that aspect of it. So I suggest in your report, you kindly add that we go beyond literature to all these. Then we can say Sanskrit is never dead. It is there. It is in the form of music, it is in the form of dance, it is in the form of living. Our personal conduct by the Griksha Sutras, Dharma Sutras and so on. So I suggest that you please add this one, though it is not little away from my subject. It comes down to the main subject of Rasa also. There's not much to say about Rasa Reader by Mr. Pollack, Sheldon Pollack, because my study and understanding of his text, he has not understood what is Rasa. Rasa, many people have mentioned it here, is not, we have Sringara, Hasya, Karuna, Raudra, Veera, Bhayanakaha, Bibhatsa, Adbhuta. These are the 8 rasas which are mentioned in our text. And then Santa is also added as another one, 9th rasa. So much of our time is wasted whether there were 8 rasas or 9 rasas. Rasa is only one, the ultimate taste. And with reference to what you call literature, music and dance, it means enjoyment of the aesthetic appeal arising from so many factors. Vibhava, Anubhava, Satvika Bhava and Vyabhichari Bhavas. Now, Bharata is one of the most outstanding scholars who has created that work Natya Shastra, in which he has given, of course, one vibhavair anubhavaischa satvikaihi vyabhicharibihi. This, and then aniyamana swadutvam, this is called Rasa Nishpatti. And then there is another one, Vibhava Anubhava Vyabhichari Samyogat Rasa Nishpatti. So here the Sattvika is deleted. Then you have only Vibhava Anubhava and Vyabhichari Bhavas. Now in the first part, Bharata says only 8 rasas, not 9 rasas. Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyabhichari, Sattvika, Vyabhichari Bhavat, Rasa Nishpatti. So if you read very carefully, when he introduces the word Sattvika, it is a technical term in dance parlance. And so he says, Ashtau Natye Rasasmritaha. Yes. In Natya, there are only 8 rasas. Why? Because Natya is essentially based on Sattvika Bhava. What is Sattvika Bhava? Which is suggested by bodily gestures. It is a bodily communication technique of Angaharas and Karanas. What is Karana? Is Hastapada Samayogaha Nrittasya Karanam Bhavet. This is the basic unit of dance. Hasta Pada Samayoga, bringing it together. The Hasta and Pada. Again here, Hasta and Pada are used as technical terms. Hasta representing the whole body above the waist, including a head. And Pada includes the whole part of the body beneath the waist. So bringing these two together in a most beautiful form and aesthetic form, that is called Nritta Karana or Natya Karana. Hasta, Pada, Samayoga. Yoga, bringing them together, not simply yoga, but Samayoga. Beautifully it is brought, then it is called Karana. There are 108 Karanas described in Bharata's Natya Shastra in chapter 4. And he gives these 100 movements, basic movements, and then the question arises, are there only 108? And then Abhinavagupta, the commentator, he would say, no. Natyanam anantyati, endless forms of movement can be created. But for the sake of easy understanding, they have classified it into 108 forms. So they are called Nritta Karanas. And with these Nritta Karanas, you can combine 2 Nritta Karanas, 3 Nritta Karanas, or 4 Nritta Karanas, and these are called Angaharas. And so, communicating with the help of so many Angaharas brought together and translating the music and its meaning through the bhava is the ultimate communication technique by which the audience, the spectator, realize the aesthetic joy. Now, at the very first statement of Mr. Pollack, he says that I am the only scholar who has studied all the ancient texts, and I give you the text as what you call Rasa reader. And then he goes on to say that some people do not know what is Rasa. I have only realized Rasa. And he says that Rasa is not in the spectator, but Rasa is in the actor. This is his argument. Absolutely, it is very clear that he has not understood what is Rasa. Now, take, for example, an actor. He communicates. when he communicates the rasa which he has experienced it elsewhere. And that with sole intention of communicating this joy to the spectator, he brings in all the angaharas, combines it with the music and also combines it with instrumental music. And then all these are made to suggest. And so his whole concentration is in communicating the one. Actor should only act on the stage. He should not think that enjoy, keep aesthetic joy. If he starts enjoying aesthetic joy on the stage, then his concentration will be only on this and not in communication. So the Sanskritists always emphasize pradhana, what is most important in expression. So they don't say expression. Expression is one plain form of abhidha vritti. This is just plain communication technique. But the best form of communication technique was brought in by Anandavardhana, who says Vyangya. Vyangya is the suggestive mode. You bring all these elements, vibhava, anubhava, vyabhichari bhava, and sattvika bhava, and just suggest so that the spectator, the audience realizes that joy, aesthetic joy, and that is rasa. So, as we are having basic bhavas, Sringara, Hasya, Karuna and all that, the rasas are also named after this same bhava. Rasas are not different, only one ultimately. That's why they said raso vai saha. We have the ancient saying in Veda, what is rasa? Is an extraordinary aesthetic joy a man enjoys through, and that is equal to ananda. What is ananda? Is Brahma. So we have a few. One of the most interesting literature about rasa is an Upanishad. Maybe I'll go quickly, and when I have finished my timing, you completely tell me so that I shall stop it at that place. Okay, right. Now I see. This is Raso Vai Saha, it's a 4,000-year-old Vedic statement. What is Rasa? Who is this Saha? Raso Vai Saha. Who is this Saha? Rasa is the juice or essence of Indian ethos. Saha is the eternal Brahman, identical with supreme joy. Where is it available? It is in your own self as spectator. Where is it? It is you enjoy the delight, that is the ananda, which is identical with Brahman. Next one, please. Now the first sage, this is a very important point, that is we get it from an Upanishad, who wanted to describe the use of the first articulated sound after meditation, was Prajapati. And when he discovered the basic recognizable sound, a, u, with this you can create the whole literature, whole speaking technique. The discoverer was called Prajapati because he could compose words. And so all the people started following him, and so he became Prajapati. The wise men among who were benefited by the discovery started composing words and sentences with embellished expressions. This is Alankara. Embellished, this thing is Alankara. Now, it does not exist in a statement, ordinary statement. When you beautify it, then it becomes poetry. It is called kavya. What is kavya? Is that which is kavaniyam, creative and beautiful. Kavaniyam kavyam. is beautifully explained as that which is based on rasa, embellished with sounds and emotions and also metrical padas. Rasasritam gunalankara vritti sahitam kavyam. This is the definition. We have kavaniyam kavyam. And so it's our suggestion is the most important mode of expression. You have gunas, you have alankaras, you have plain words, and also what is called bhakti, another mode of expression, where the primary meaning is suppressed and the suggestive meaning is thrown out. If the important is given to the suppression, then it is not rasa. When importance is given to the suggestive meaning that comes out of it, either the verbal communication or the meaning coming out of it, then it is called rasa. It is called vyangya, suggestion. Suggestion is based on also rasa. Next one, please. When the sages living in the midst of nature saw the dawn brightening the horizon, they addressed the Rigvedic poems to the rising sun. And the Rigvedic hymns appeared as beautiful lotus flowers. And these were called kavyas. Next one, these are poetry, hymns. The rishis visualized the Rigvedic hymns as the lotus flowers and the sun's rays falling on them as bees collecting the honey reflected in the sun's rasmis, from where you get also the word rasa. They realized that the plants grew, the birds and animals became active, so they gave tejas, brightness, fame and food, and tasted the juice which is rasa. Next one, please. The picture, this picture, beautiful picture, is given in Chandogya Upanishad, where not only the Rig Veda, but they also say in the south, they had the Yajurveda, in the west, they had the Samaveda, and then in the north, they had the Atharvana Veda, and on the top, they had the Itihasa Puranas. From all these, which are all kavyas, they thought that they got the juice, the vital life juice, rasa. And then that they call it rasanam rasaha. The rasa of rasa, the juice of juice. And this is given in Chandogya Upanishad. Next one. Now, when the sages composed these poems, they were meant for others, not for themselves. So it is something like communicating to the person who hears it, who enjoys it. Next one. Now, in the case of Natya, all the 8 rasas enumerated are communicated through various factors. That's vibhava, anubhava, sattvika, and vyabhichari bhavas. The basic one are the sattvikas, and the sattvika bhavas are angaharas. Next one, please. Now, in the case of Santa, no bodily movement is possible and cannot be introduced in dance. If there is movement, there is no Santa. They cannot give Santa. So, Bharata very cleverly removed Santa and he said only 8 rasas. But later on, next one, later on, Santa was also included as a rasa, but it is not a Natya rasa, it is a Kavya rasa. So there is a distinction between Natya rasa and there is another one, Kavya rasa. Next one, please. See, Bharata said, Vibhava anubhavaihi satvikaihi vyabhicharibihi aniyamana swadutvam ashtau natya rasasmrita. Next. Another place he says, Vibhava anubhava vyabhichari samyogat rasa nishpatihi. So here it is for Kavya. Next one. A different reading is noticed in two manuscripts in the critical edition of Gaikwad Oriental series on Bharatasnatya Shastra, page 102. So a doubt may arise whether originally Bharata accepted 9 rasas or 8 rasas. But this need to be checked up whether this is corroborated by bhavas. Rasas arise from bhava. So they always give rasa, and then from which bhava this rasa arises. So if Santa is one of the rasas, they should have exactly a counterpart of bhava, but that is not there. So originally there is only 8, also in the critical edition. So we are sure, absolutely sure, according to Bharata, these Natya rasa consisted only of 8. Next one, please. Evidently, those who inserted the 9th rasa did not think of this lakna. The rasa they give 9, but the bhava they give only 8. So there could be no doubt Bharata consistently used 8 rasa, and that is called Natya rasa. Next one, please. Now, in the case of actors in the Natya, the main purpose was to communicate. I want to bring to your notice one very important occurrence. In the 19th century, there are a lot of dramas that were performed in the villages, streets. And Prahlada Bhakti Vijaya was one of the most important drama that attracted them, where Narasimha manifests and then he destroys Hiranyakasipu with the demon. But, it is the climax, and the drum and sound will be very high, the music will be very high, and when one man acting as Narasimha put this Hiranyaksha on his lap and actually tore his body, virtually killed him, because the actor thought he is Narasimha. He killed him. So much so the British passed an order that Prahlada Bhakti Vijaya should not be enacted on the stage. That shows very clearly that the actor has only to act. Don't do it reality. So there is no question of reality show in dance. If they say reality show, they do not know what is dance. So, but our friend Pollack says it is not in the spectator, but it is in the actor. If the actor starts acting, this is what will happen. Similarly, if the Sringara Bhava, the hero and heroine should only act as doing Sringara. If they start doing Sringara, there are 2 Sringara, Sambhoga Sringara and Vipralamba Sringara. All the audience will throw stones at these fellows who are dying. So it can never be in actor, it can never be in nata, it is in the spectator. Sahridaya. Yesham Kavyanusilanavasati Visadibhute Manomukure Varnaniya Tanmayi Bhavana Yogyata Teyeva Sahridaya Samvada Bhaja Sahridaya, says Abhinavagupta. Those who have cultivated, educated, who know what is music, what is the sensitivity of various forms of bhavas and anubhavas, reading kavya, seeing so many natyas, their mind is like a tender flower, and that can only experience the aesthetic joy. Otherwise, if the spectator is not ready to listen, his mind is not here, whatever he does will not give him that aesthetic joy. So, in order to understand rasa, we have to understand the kavya, and we have to understand the angaharas, and we have to understand what is music, the modulation of music, updata, anudata, swarita, etc. And also the drum, instrumental music. So it is an integrated art. If it is in Natya, the spectator must be able to appreciate all this together. Both Sangeeta is vocal music and instrumental music. And Kavya, the meaning of the suggestive Kavyas. Next one, please. So the actor on the stage should only act as if he is communicating. There is a word which they use, Sanskrit is used, pradhana. What is the main intention of the actor? The main intention of the actor is to communicate to the audience. It is the audience who experience, and that experience of aesthetic joy is called rasa. I think as he does not understand the difference between audience and the actor, and he says only actor experiences rasa and not the audience. It is my considered view that Pollack knows nothing about rasa, and his whole rasa theory book can be thrown into the dustbin. And I think we should understand that rasa is only divided into two, but actually only one. The great ananda, the great joy we experience is rasa. It is natya rasa when it is derived from dance. It is kavya rasa when it is listened. Kavya is always meant to be recited in ancient India. And so recitation, through recitation, we hear. Even there, the hearer acts as the spectator there. And so in most cases, even in kavya, the rasa is in the listener. And the poet concentrates on how to communicate the rasa to the audience, to the person who wants to read the kavya, great kavya. And the greatest kavya is, the most ancient kavya is Valmiki's Ramayana, Adi Kavya. So, I think if we can distinguish this and understand rasa means aesthetic joy that is experienced in human mind, and that is in the spectator. Yes, the actor gets this experience elsewhere, and that full experience he is trying to communicate, and still he is only communicating and not experiencing the Dhamma. So I think as Pollack knows nothing about rasa, there is no need to explain further what is rasa and what is his rasa theory and all. And what is interesting is that he speaks Bharata as Natya Shastra, rasa, and then centuries of development. So many people have written so many things. Not every text is great. But by just citing one author, oh, this author has said this author has said this, is not establishing that rasa is in the actor and not. I think that will be enough for my explanation. Thank you very much, friend.
Thank you very much. The main flaw in Pollack that you have pointed out, that he sees it in the actor, the rasa, and not in the audience. I agree with it. It is a very profound insight you have. I think the first person I know who made that is you, that observation, because this undermines the whole rasa theory that he derives. I want to offer an analysis of why he says this. Why he says it. I want to offer my analysis. In the Judeo-Christian tradition that he comes from, agency is very concentrated top-down. Agency is top-down. It is authority that goes from the top to the down. So he is reflecting that the actor is the one who has got this, and the audience sort of passive. Whereas in our tradition, it is decentralized. The actor is merely enacting and suggesting, but the audience is themselves getting the rasa for themselves. An analogy I want to offer is that the marriage the marriage ceremony in Christianity, the couple don't marry themselves. The priest pronounces them man and wife. Whereas in the Hindu ceremony, they are doing the marriage act, and the priest is a coach who's sort of suggesting what they should do. So I draw that analogy that in many ways, like the rituals also, You do not really need you could do a lot of yourself also. The agamas especially, you could perform on your own. Whereas in the West, in the Christian tradition, Judeo-Christian tradition, it is top-down authority, because the whole metaphysics is very top-down. The whole experience, the whole the history centrism built into the Abrahamic religions makes it very top-down, God to prophet to this, that, church and whatnot. So would you like to comment on this interpretation I have?
Yes, I, for want of time, I didn't go into some more points. We have a very important grammar in Tamil called Tolkapiyam, which is assigned to first, 2nd century AD. And we have one chapter in Tolkapiyam, which is called Meipadu. It is almost a Angahara like thing, what you experience. Aesthetic joy, what you experience. And there is a very interesting information that how this is got by the actor and how it is transmitted to the spectator. He says, first, the object of joy. The second, the instrument, bodily instrument which absorbs that. And then the power that takes it into the mind of the actor, and then the joy he experiences. All this is one aspect. So 4 stages. And then the reverse is the stage by that from the mind the actor sends the command, by the bodily action, angahara, he brings it out, and explicit is the 3rd stage, and the 4th stage is the anubhava by the spectator. So, it is experiencing rasa, the Tamil tradition says 4 receiving and 4 stages of giving it to the spectator. That shows how, as early as 2000 years ago, for 2nd century AD, Tamils have absorbed this Bharata's Natyashastra tradition, and they have transmitted it to the audience. The second, sir, another point that we have tried to apply this theory to painting, art. And I had discussion with all great artists both in India and abroad, whether now in modern art, they say the artist more important. They say artist, whatever he thinks, they think so much of artist, and they speak artist is the main person who enjoys it. But the purpose of drawing or painting it, if he wants to do it, he can do it somewhere and keep on looking at it. He wants to give it to the public, and he wants the public to appreciate it. Only when he is satisfied with the public appreciation is great, then he feels very happy. And so even in the case of painting and also in the case of sculpture, the aesthetic joy that is experienced is not in the artist. That's what he is trying to say, that, but it is in the public who appreciates it. And his whole intention is only to communicate. So this is receiving and giving back. That is most important, that they say in the ancient times.
So Dr. Nagaswamy, is it
yes, sir.
in bhakti, there is no actor? Do I, as the bhakt, can I experience it entirely on my own without a person transmitting it to me? In bhakti, for example, or in somebody, singing on their own singing, their own, is that, or is it, or do I always need some other person to act it and give it to me?
I feel that in order to give a most beautiful aesthetic experience to the artist, this man should have experienced it, and the intensity with which he has experienced it, he will be able to translate it.
But my question is different. My question is that suppose there is no one else. I am a bhakta. I'm doing bhakti, am I able to experience the same joy as on my own? Suppose I'm all alone, there is no other person who has experienced, who gives it to me. I don't depend on anybody. I am experiencing on my own. It could be spontaneous while I'm dipping in the Ganga. It could be while I'm doing puja. It could be if I'm doing meditation. Isn't it something built into me as my own self, the Satchitanand that I can invoke on my own? Or do I depend on someone else necessarily? In other words, is this external transmission from the actor one method only, while I am also capable of doing it without the actor? Or is it that that's the only, I have to go for looking for an actor to give it to me?
But if one experiences himself is something like a created joy, I don't think it will be a full joy, aesthetic joy that he is going to communicate. Or he himself feels as it aesthetic joy.
So you feel that, therefore, there is no, that the claims of the bhaktas who never had somebody acting
Unless he experiences it.
So you are saying that the claim of the bhakta that he has of his own experience, this is not valid.
It is not possible, I think so.
Unless
he has experienced it.
No, I'm saying
from outside.
Okay, I disagree with this. I disagree with this. I don't believe that in our tradition, you need another authority, another person to transmit it to you, because we would negate the whole bhakti tradition, and you would negate the whole tradition of Raj Yoga and meditation, where you do not need it to be transmitted from another person, but you of your own are able to get it. You're saying that
that doesn't fall under the category of aesthetic joy.
Okay.
Joy is there. It is not aesthetic joy.
So how is spiritual joy, anand from spiritual joy, bhakti?
Yeah, in the ultimate stage, both are same.
So therefore, therefore it is possible to have this joy, this anand, without an actor giving it to me.
Yeah, if you are speaking about that ultimate experience, these are, when we say aesthetic joy, when we look at dance or music and then experience it, that's all within the worldly level. When you go into the ultimate one and beyond that, there is nothing, and that joy is one.
But in the first slide, you
talked the other one at the worldly level, there is difference.
But in the very first slide, you talked about Brahman.
Yes.
You talked about that is the rasa. Ultimate rasa is that one.
Yes. So that is already said by all people. Yes. They have said it. There's only one rasa.
So that ultimate rasa of that one is something also available in other in traditions where there is no actor, but I am getting it on my own.
It is universal.
Yes.
It is universal.
So I am able to not depend on an actor, but get it on my own.
That's right. Yes.
So can we say that, now that we agree on this, can we say that the recipient, the audience, have that innate capability in them, and the actor invokes and activates it, but they have to have that innate capability in them, whereas in the Abrahamic traditions they do not, because they are original sinners. They cannot have that. They are not Satchitanand. They are original sinners, and therefore somebody else has to do something to them. That's a big, profound difference. And I feel that Pollock is coming from that side.
No, but I think I don't get the full import of your question. But this is the thing, that this aesthetic joy is ephemeral.
Yes.
It is not permanent. You move out, then you are in the world.
Right.
It doesn't continue. Again, you see another dance, you see another same aesthetic joy you are going to experience. But when you experience the final joy, through yoga or whatever the case may be, that, and you remain in that whole, that is the final rasa. Raso vaisa, that's why rasanam rasa.
But even the ephemeral joy I experience listening to profound music, on my own with headsets and iPad, whatever this device.
It is for the time being.
Yeah, so it is temporary, just like from the actor. Just like the actor gives it temporarily, ephemeral, I can also get it from a recording.
Author feels it. But when he composes it, when he writes it for others, not for himself. If he is going to experience it, he can keep on doing it himself.
Right, right.
Yes.
So from the author's point of view and the performer's point of view, the goal is to transmit to others rather than for himself. Agreed. But the others also can, on their own, if they don't buy the ticket and watch the play on those trance, they can sit at home and also enjoy it on their own.
That is only an anubhava.
Yeah.
That's
think,
one. That's why I said that Abhinava Gupta says that it is only in the mind of those who have cultivated, who have understood the sensitivity of this aesthetic joy by reading Kavya and seeing, they will be able to appreciate fully what is put or staged in the stage.
So I have a different question. Instead of a human actor, if I have a recording, this actor is dead and he was performing and giving me the rasa in the audience. Now he's dead and we're watching it in a video. Can that video transmit the same?
It is there. It is in a very elementary stage. It is there in the spectator already. But he has cultivated it, and that he receives the full whole thing impact of that aesthetic joy.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is different point. That can the same transmission happen without a pranic creature, without a creature who's the actor being present? Can it be transmitted through an electronic playing of his video?
But I don't think they apply this term to that. It's only when they either listen to or see
Live.
Drisya Kavya or Sravya Kavya.
So it has to be live performance.
Yes.
So therefore, if I'm watching something on television or a recording, you feel it cannot give rasa.
Well, now we have films,
Yes.
though it is not there, it is possible to communicate it.
Yeah, so now they are playing, in all the temples, they're playing recordings. All the temples, they're playing recordings.
Yes.
There is live also, but they're playing recordings. So are you saying that therefore the rasa is not possible because it is the live person is not there?
Yes. We always feel that. In dramatic performance, they don't want recorded music. They don't like it. They don't appreciate it. They want the live music. Similarly, in picture also, you see the actor live, then it has more greater appreciation point than without it. This is dull. This is, after all, movie. It doesn't give you that one.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Yeah.
To help me, you can do two things. You can go to the subscribe button on my YouTube and subscribe. We need more subscribers there. Secondly, I get lots of emails on people saying, how do we donate? How can we help you? You go to rajivmalhotra.com or you go to infinityfoundation.com and you can hit the donate button. You can donate in dollars. There are different ways mentioned. If you want to donate in rupees, there is a column called Infinity Foundation India, and you click that and there are instructions on how you can donate in India.